Hello again. We have in the last 10 or 20 years grown used to a high level of violence in once peaceful cities such as London and Stockholm. In Sweden, bombings and shootings are now endemic, and in London, knife crime has spiralled out of control. Other European cities are also becoming hazardous to live in. On Thursday, an Afghan asylum seeker drove a vehicle into a crowd of people, killing a mother and her 2-year-old child. A few hours later, at 4 a.m. on Friday morning, 3 people were stabbed during a large fight in the East London district of Stratford. All of them were black. 24 hours later, a Syrian asylum seeker went on a stabbing rampage in Austria, killing a 14-year-old boy and wounding 5 other people. That same day, a Nigerian asylum seeker was stabbed to death in Dublin after a fight between 2 groups of black people. This is simply a random snapshot of life in European cities today over the course of a few days. The mass stabbings, shootings, bombings and attacks using vehicles almost invariably involve one of 3 groups. One is Muslim asylum seekers or refugees, another is black men, and the other is foreign gangsters from Eastern Europe, especially Albanians. Very few such incidents are the work of the native inhabitants of Sweden, Germany, Austria or Britain. The motives for such attacks also fall into 3 categories. One is religiously motivated violence, another is mental illness, and the third is gangsters, gang warfare. On the face of it, we are facing and dealing with a number of different problems: Islamism, drug dealing, mental health, immigration, poverty, and various other strands. In fact, what we are seeing is simply one thing with various facets. When European societies were homogeneous, that is to say the vast majority of people were white and of vaguely Christian background, such things did not occur, other than as freakishly rare incidents which made headlines in the newspapers because they were so out of the ordinary. Now we see them every day, and we've learned to shrug our shoulders and accept that this kind of thing is caused by poverty, a lack of provision for those with mental health problems, and a host of other excuses. This doesn't really explain what's going on though, because there have always been poor people in Europe, just as there have always been mad people and criminals. But a few years ago, mad people did not go on stabbing sprees. Those with strong religious beliefs didn't drive cars at crowds of people. We've had drug dealers for many years, but they never used to plant bombs or shoot each other. The common factor here is, of course, immigration, for it is foreigners and their children who are more ready to carry out such attacks. The awful sense of anxiety which many people now feel in European cities, including London, is a direct consequence of immigration from Africa, Asia and the Caribbean, and of that there cannot be the slightest doubt. There may be advantages to immigration, although these are not readily apparent. About the disadvantages, though, there can be no doubt whatever, for we witness them every day with the shootings, stabbings, bombings and vehicle attacks, which are now a daily feature of life in Europe. Here's a point before I end. Let me ask those who wish to be critical of what I'm saying, not simply to denounce it. No point just shouting that I'm a racist or I'm a fascist or something else. If they want to contradict what I'm saying, then of course people can say that what I'm saying is false. That is to say that there have always been attacks using vehicles driven at random into crowds of people, or that stabbing sprees have been around for a long time, that there's nothing new about them. They could say, people that want to denounce me could say that it's not true about Sweden, and that Sweden traditionally did have a lot of bombing attacks and shootings, and that they're not a new thing imported by Albanians. What I'm asking people to do is to deal with what I'm actually saying. Tackle, the opinions, the views that I'm expressing. It should be possible to deal with them and to counter them without resorting to rhetoric and calling me a racist or fascist. In the descriptions to this video, I give links to 4 of the cases which I mentioned.